The Neil Diamond Musical, A Beautiful Noise, the uplifting true story, featuring all the songs you love from his Grammy Award-winning career. October 21st through 26th at Des Moines Civic Center. On sale at dmpa.org.
Hey guys, welcome to InCYde Zone. You're listening to this on a Monday morning. We're recording on a Sunday. I'm Jacqueline Cordova, joined as always by Colin Newell, Jake Remsburg, and Jirehl Brock. And as always, presented by Wyffels Hybrids. Guys, Iowa State gets their first loss of the season, unfortunately, on the road against Cincinnati, 38-30. Kind of felt like people were starting to look at this one as a trap game, and it kind of turned into that. So, I mean, what the heck? What are your initial thoughts? What were you feeling during that game, especially that tough first half?
Well, it wasn't a very pleasant watch. We can say that. It wasn't fun, but it's certainly not fun doing these types of post-game reviews after a game like that. But yeah, it just wasn't our day yesterday. And, that environment looked pretty awesome and tough to play in. And when you get down that quick, that early, it's going to be a long stretch for the rest of the game. But Campbell said in his post game, those dudes battled. They did come back, and he was right. Like, they came back, and that shows a lot of grit and perseverance to do that, especially in an environment like that. But for sure, just not our day.
Yeah, tip of the cap to Cincinnati for sure. They came out ready to rock and roll. Physicality wise, that offensive line that Cincinnati came out and put out there to start the game really gave our defensive line and box players some troubles. So kudos to them. But what I love about Iowa State football and Coach Campbell's staff is no matter what happens, we're going to find ourselves back in the game. And they're going to be playing really aggressively and playing really hard. Like, it's never a question of, like, hey, did the guys come out and just not want to play today? Like, Iowa State football wanted to play yesterday. We got punched in the face a little bit, and we did rally back in the second half.
Yeah. Luckily, dude, it's not like, the UFC fights like I watched last night. At least when you get punched in the face, you get a chance to come back. Unlike UFC, when they just call the fight, it's done.
Yeah, I feel like throughout the week, things were coming out about people being out for the season and stuff like that, and it kind of felt like the tides were turning a little bit against us just with injuries, man. Last year it was the linebackers. This year it's the DBs. You think going into that game, we're going to be kind of depleted on the secondary, so you hope that the linebackers in the front can kind of take care of the run game, at least make them one-dimensional. But I think defensively we allowed them to throw the ball and run the ball kind of at will. They kind of imposed their will in their first drive. Offensively, we just weren't getting anything going. As the game gone on, obviously we started to pick it up a little bit, but I think we were kind of just too we had to catch up too much, and allowing, and then some special teams things happen. You let the ball bounce to the 1 yard line. It's kind of hard for an offense to get going from there. Obviously, you give up a lot of kick return yards there, and that just makes it hard on the defense to get some stops. But looking at this game, I wasn't liking it, and then I looked at it again, and you realize the injuries that we do have. The offense is moving the ball. At a time like this, you really miss Kyle Conradi, because I think coach's play calling and everything like that would have been a little bit different, knowing that he had that in his back pocket. Even Jake, we were talking about it, not just Kyle, but also Jace Gilbert. You're missing your first two kickers, and no offense to the third guy, but the first two are obviously the ones that you would like to have out there. Offensive line, I didn't think we protected Rocco that well. Even when, he does take that big hit, and then he comes back in and they allow another sack on him. And that's just a mentality thing. I think you have to know that you can't allow that to happen anymore. So, overall, I feel like Cincinnati just played the better game, wanted to win a little bit more, and that's what they did.
we're in the reality of the Iowa State football program, which is it's a cool reality that we're in a spot like this, and it's been a long time coming, but Iowa State is now a circle game on everyone's calendar. You know, when you look at it, we've been to 2 Big 12 championships in the last 5 years, 4 technically. Last year we went 10-2. We beat Miami and Cam Ward's Miami Hurricanes, and you've played all these teams. We are now a circle game on everyone's calendar. The fans know it. You know, when you go to a place like Cincinnati, we're number 14th in the country. It's circled. It's a big day. You think of it, 10 years ago when Oklahoma would come to Ames. I'm not saying it's necessarily the same, but like we are a circled game on people's calendars. People that might not go to a regular game, a Cincinnati versus West Virginia game, are going to go to a Cincinnati versus Iowa State game because Iowa State has a brand now in college football that people look up to and they want to beat, and so we're going to get everyone's best shot every given Saturday. So that's a reality, and when you're just not as precise as you want to be, like I don't think we were yesterday, we're just sometimes just a little bit off. Some of those 4th down conversion plays, just one little thing off, a pass that was just 6 inches in front of someone's hands to get a conversion on 4th down. Those are the precise things, we're missing tackles, Those are the things that you need to accomplish on the road when you are a circle game on people's calendar. So that is, when things like that happen, results aren't going to be where you want them to, where you want to be at.
I think that's a great point, Jake. Like, Iowa State football has put themselves in that position where people want to beat us, right? Like, there's not a lot of teams that have beat us consistently over the last couple of years. Like, it's been a one-sided domination. So, teams and coaches remember that type of stuff. I know when we were playing, like, if you've lost once or twice to a team in the last 2 years, like it's a little bit bigger game because like you're like, we got to beat these people. Like, they beat us the last couple of years, but it's our turn now. So I think that's a really good point that you make there. And Cincinnati isn't a slouch of a team. Like, they're going to win a lot of football games this year. I have no question about that.
Yeah, they showed that last week against Kansas. They showed that last week.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. I was expecting a little bit more out of their quarterback, to be a little quite honest with you. And, I felt like we kept him fairly in check as far as passing game, but the running game they were really dominant in.
Yeah, when you run the ball like that, I mean, that's what you want to do. You prefer to run the ball, get the ball on the ground, and hope that opens up some things from the quarterback perspective. So they were for sure. They had some good run schemes dialed up against us, which, as we talked about, they run essentially our defense. So these guys also are preparing and running against the same defense in fall camp. So that's another added dimension that you got to think about when you play a team like Cincinnati. You have a guy that's their defensive coordinator that came from Coach Haycock's system. Like, your ins and outs. Vite knows Haycock's way. He was with them for 8 years, or I don't even know, 8 to 10 years. Probably
8 years, that. 8 years, I think.
So that's, when you have a good little tips and tricks in your backhand buck, you're going to be all right.
Not only that, but Vite was a crucial part of helping develop that Iowa State defense. Like, that was a lot of Vite's mindset, I believe, kind of hearing through the locker room. That was stuff that Coach Vite brought from West Virginia, I think. So
yeah, absolutely.
Well, and like you guys said, it's like the tables have turned, right? Iowa State's now the target. I mean, the stage was literally perfectly set for Cincinnati. It was a sold-out crowd. It was, what was it? Like the first time they had hosted like some kind of ranked opponent in X amount of years, I think I saw. And I know this win itself was their highest ranked win over an opponent at home since 2006 when they defeated Rutgers. So
Rutgers.
Oh.
They beat them 30-11 when Rutgers was number 7 at the time. So
jeez.
Which makes sense, why they stormed the field. I wasn't even I tweeted something like, oh, they're getting ready to rush the field or something. And I wasn't making fun of them. I was just like, oh, dang, what a harsh reality to watch Iowa State's loss, get that. But
Right.
I will say this. I'm glad Iowa State football is where we are right now. I don't think we're storming the field after beating the number 14 team in the country right now. I mean, like, that does say something about your program a little bit.
And as favorites, too. I mean,
Yeah,
we were the underdogs, so.
they were the favorites. But like you guys said, injuries are kind of unfortunately kind of getting in the way there. Go through what went through your guys' head when Rocco took that hard hit. In the post game, he did say he felt like crap, but he basically, in typical fashion, said, that's the game. I just wanted to be out there with my team and give us the best possible scenario, best possible situation. And he did get taken out briefly. So, I mean, talk me through that moment in the game.
Yeah, he's clearly made himself a leader of this football team, right? Like he takes the heat. He's very much a we guy when things are going well, and he points the finger at himself when things just don't go well. Which, when you're on a team with a guy like that, very similar to Brock Purdy, like you feel good about it, right? Like you look up to that leader, and when he comes back on the field, and he's playing through stuff at that point, right? Like nobody takes that hit and feels like themselves, whether it's head or body or it's a physical game, right? So when you see that guy like sprinting back onto the field ready to roll, like that gives you a little bit of fire. And like I think Iowa State, started to battle back a little bit at that point. It's almost like that was a turning point. You wish that didn't have to happen for that to happen. But you see that guy go out there and lay everything on the line, and you're gonna fight a little bit more. So kudos to Rocco. Obviously he leads by example, and I think he does a great job of that.
My first initial thought when Rocco took that hit was taking it back to Oklahoma when Brock took that hit.
I said it immediately.
100%.
Oh,
I said it immediately.
gosh.
I was watching it with my dad, and I was like, it reminds me of when Brock got killed by Paragon Winfrey in Oklahoma.
It was one of those things where obviously you never want your quarterback to go through something like that. And I'm not even a teammate of his anymore, and like I wanted to get up there and like start, cause a scruffle on the field with that guy. And I mean, I feel like it might have been smart that guys didn't, but I would have loved to see somebody like do something like that's your quarterback. This is the guy that you're supposed to ride for. They all went to him. I understand that, but nobody checked that dude that hit him. And I feel like at that point in the game, that could have gave them a little bit more juice. They allow him to come back in the game, and they allow a sack. I feel like as a mentality thing for a team, that's just something that you would want a little bit more of, a little bit more fight when it comes to your quarterback, Rocco, who's putting everything out on the line for you guys.
Yeah, that's the mentality of an offensive lineman, and that's our job to keep that guy upright. And I can't remember exactly what happened for him to scramble. It might have been on the O-line there, but whenever you see something like that, you don't want to see that. You don't want to see your quarterback on the ground, and you take pride in that. And if it does happen, you pick that guy up, and you're gonna make sure that doesn't happen again, or at least trying to make sure that doesn't happen again. But I mean, we've all had our fair share of hits, and Rocco's right. It's a part of the game. We play football. It's a physical sport. That one for sure was one that I knew he was going to feel immediately. That was right under his chin strap, and right in the upper part of his sternum. And those ones are going to hurt, and it's going to hurt today too, guaranteed. But yeah, that's why we love the game too. Like, it's a competitive thing. It's a competitive nature. When you can go out there and get back in the game after something like that, that just shows how gritty of he is as a player. And it would be so easy for him to be like, okay, I need like a drive to recollect and get my body back somewhat to go out and compete. But he's out there. He wants to go right back out there. And I'm sure that conversation in the tent is very brief. I'm fine. And the doctors and trainers have to do their kind of thing, and it's annoying on paper, but it's the smart thing to do for the players. But like, it's just a competitive guy. I mean, you can see like they kept on panning to his dad in the stands, and you can tell his dad, he knows what he's going through. He played years in the NFL. Like, it's just part of the game. So
his mom looked so worried though.
I know.
Deanne looked worried, but
Deanne looked so unwell.
Yeah, but. Yeah, it's football. So
people around her were trying to calm her down. My baby's out. My baby's out there hurting on the
That's
ground.
definitely a guy you want on your team, though, right? Like, we already knew we wanted Rocco for everything that he's capable of, but, like, you see that side of it. Like, that is truly one of those, like, he already has a locker room one over, but if it was a situation where he's a quarterback and, like, he was trying to earn the locker room, like, he would have done it there. Like, that just is going to solidify his kind of legacy for what he does for Iowa State.
Well, and like I said, unfortunately, Carson Hansen also, he has a concussion, I think is what they confirmed after the game, I believe. So that also really sucks, just with how much impact he makes. Jirehl, I'm curious of, what your thoughts are on the running backs. I mean, Abu Sama had season high 96 yards on 18 carries. What are you seeing from those guys? And especially if Carson does, have to be out and kind of navigate him being out of there, how do you see them handling that?
Well, obviously someone like Carson who's been a really good back for us the past couple of years has, you're going to miss his presence, of course. You got to see a little bit more of what Abu could do this game and how the offensive line blocked for him. I think that obviously progressively got better as the game went on. From Abu, you'd love to just see him get more north and south. I think right now he still tries to get outside to the sideline and try and get outside a little bit. That's one thing that I think one reason why Carson has, kind of surpassed him as RB1. Obviously they split carries, but Carson is that starter because he gets more north and south downhill. That's obvious. That's a lot with Coach Campbell likes to get more north and south, get downhill, get your pads down. Abu's gonna, there was a couple of plays where he was just trying to get outside. He could have stuck his foot up and got a couple more yards instead of maybe losing one or two. So you're going to probably see them harp on that a little bit more, just him getting north and south. And I think if he can do that, then, he's a big, strong back. He can make, people miss. He doesn't have to necessarily get away with them with his speed. He can go through them as well or over them, as you've seen. And do. So, it'll be interesting to see if they, have another running back that comes in if Carson does miss time. Concussions, he could possibly get through the protocol this week, maybe, who knows, to play in the next game. But, I'm not expecting him to be out too long for that, obviously not knowing how severe it is, but knowing him, he's a tough guy. He's going to want to get back out there and get that bad taste of a loss out of his mouth.
Jirehl, I have a question for you kind of off of that. So obviously we saw improved production from Abu yesterday. Do you feel like there are some areas where he has maybe taken a couple steps forward? Because not a running back, I feel like there were some areas where I did see him maybe get a little bit more north and south yesterday that we hadn't seen maybe so far this season. For sure.
No, he's definitely getting downhill. I think play calling can go into that, forcing that downhill nature with some of the play calling. But he was definitely getting in between the tackles instead of trying to go outside of them.
Yeah, it's definitely noticeable that like Carson Hansen is more the downhill guy. Like it's 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2. Like Carson Hansen is going to go throw if there's not a hole in there, he'll make a hole. Or Abu may dance a little bit. I just feel like Abu maybe showed us something yesterday that we maybe hadn't seen a ton so far this season, where he did show a little bit more, and production wise, it obviously produced a little bit more.
And it's funny, just looking at it on paper. I mean, I felt like just watching the game yesterday, it kind of felt like our run game just could never get going. A little bit, but you look at it on paper, and Abu had 18 carries for 96 yards. That's averaging 5.3 a clip with a long of 20. Like, that's an efficient run stat line, which is just crazy to me. So, and it's not like we're not running. I've seen way worse stat lines, in my time. I've had way worse games. So I don't think, it's necessarily an issue of like, we just can't run the ball yesterday, which is weird, but it's just another thing that, it does show like there is some positives to take away from yesterday. I think Abu is for sure one of them. When we lose Carson, which has been such a great, contributor to our run game, and, you can tell he really meshes well with the O-line scheme. and he kind of knows where the O-line's going to be, where their double teams are going to take him, where the holes are going to open up. And I thought, Abu did a good job of that yesterday, and we're going to continue to see improvement. We obviously know he's got that home run ability in his back pocket to, break a couple of these. He's for sure got that vision and that skill set. So, for sure, the running game, I didn't think it was, the greatest yesterday, but, relatively speaking, we were efficient. It's just that Cincinnati's top back ran for 11 a clip instead of 5.5. So, that's kind of where I might have got that perception. But
the other part of that is like the game kind of when you're down 17-0, like Rocco Beck threw the ball 48 times yesterday. Like,
oh, absolutely,
the opportunities to say like, hey, we're gonna overly commit to the run game, aren't just there, right? Like you're naturally going to get a little lopsided and get pass heavy. Like I still think we did stay true to ourselves and stick to the game plan, and that's what got us back into the game. Being able to say, hey, we are fairly balanced on both sides of the ball, and that's something that coaching wise you got to be proud of, saying like, hey, our game plan was there. Like we were efficient, we did put up yards, but the game just got into a weird situation pretty early.
Really early. I mean, going down 17-0 that quick and that fast before you could blink. I mean, I'm on this new adventure. I do these adventures. I'm trying to find the best donuts in Des Moines right now, and I've done the best taco truck, and I'm a little bit into the best wings in Des Moines, and now I'm starting the best donuts every Saturday. But I feel like I could barely open up my donut box before it was 17-0. I was like, what the heck? I'm not even that, I can't even complete my review of these donuts, and then 17-0. Imagine calling the game. You're trying to get through your first, you have this list as an offensive coordinator, like your top, what was it, top 20 plays or maybe. Yeah, your top 20. And we probably, I don't even know, we probably went through 7 before it was 17-0, and then you're like, oh my gosh, we got to go. Like, you kind of have to abort, developing schemes throughout the first quarter and the first half of the second quarter. And now it's like full court press. Like if we don't score, if we don't get yards, we're going to be out of this before we know it. We're going to be able to play, before we even know it. So that's super hard. And as a player, it's super hard too. In an environment like that where the first quarter is just quite frankly not going your team's way. It's a hard environment. And for the fact that they actually came back, that's impressive, because if, as a player, you're sitting on the bench at either side of the ball, and you kind of feel like, on the road when things are going super bad, the sideline's pretty quiet, on your sideline, it kind of feels like the whole world's kind of shrinking in on you. And, like, you have to have the ability to, come out of that. There's a lot of anxious moments. Like, now you're sitting in the back of the head. We have to score. It's 17-0. Like, we are not in this game right now. So the fact that they keep clawing and, the end of the day at 38-30, and props to the defense. And sorry, I'm going on a little ramble here, but I mean, for them to come back in the second half and I think the box score is like, you only let up 7 points in the second half, right? Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. Like that's good, and credit to them too. Obviously, no one wants to play like they did in the first half, and but for them to keep fighting and keep staying with it, it's impressive.
Yeah, that's the true John Haycock, right? Like, wish you don't give up that much early, but in the second half, you're not gonna have many opportunities. So you
gave
better
us a
come
shot,
out,
dude.
Yeah,
gave the offense a shot.
Give us a shot, and didn't shake out.
What do you guys think John Haycock said to the team in the locker room? If you had to pretend you were in there, what do you think he said?
Well, I know what he ended it with. I know what he ended it with. Defense.
Well, that's before the game. Do they do it at halftime too?
Yeah. I think they did it at halftime too.
I don't know.
I think there's a lot of coaching. I mean, I feel like Coach Haycock probably lit him up a little bit to get him some fire, but he's like a guy that I always thought, like, when he talked, you listened. He commands your respect. Obviously, he's got the success to back it up. But I always felt that they were really good about coaching and making their adjustments, and clearly they did. Right, whatever he did at halftime worked, because they didn't do much in the second half of that football game. Maybe they'd move the ball a little bit, but they wouldn't get to the red zone and really do anything. So Coach Aycock is one of those guys. Yeah, like I said, like he talks, you listen, just from the fact of like he's got so much wisdom and he's very calculated in what he does. So it wasn't just like I'm going to lose myself completely in the motions and forget about what's really important.
Jirehl, go ahead, Remy.
I think that's a point that I think Coach Campbell is actually really good at too. Obviously, there was a little light up in the locker room from both, a lot of different parties. But at the end of the day, everyone is pretty good at staying calm and collected, and no pointing fingers or anything like that in Iowa State's locker rooms. And that starts with Campbell. Sometimes I was joking yesterday. I said sometimes Campbell's worst halftime rants would be when we were winning instead of when we were losing.
I could see that. I could totally see that.
When the ability to not point fingers and just stay calm and collected and just keep playing your game, it's for sure, a win as a team, and it's just the culture Coach Campbell has. But yeah, halftimes are weird. A lot of times you just eat your Uncrustable and drink a Red Bull and
not the Uncrustable.
Get some heat on maybe.
Uncrustable, Rice Krispies,
little gummies.
What were his rants like? You don't have to give too much. I know it's, team time in there. But, like, if you guys were up by a lot and he's just amped up, what kinds of things is he even saying in that moment?
The exact same thing here. It's all about the details. Like, we got to go out there and execute better, physicality.
Especially if you're winning and you ended the half badly.
Yes, that was the worst.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was bad.
It's like if you come out playing in the second half that same exact way, we're going to lose this game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good point, actually.
That's wow.
But he'll always pick out some random play you didn't even remember happened. And then you're just like, oh, I didn't even remember that happened. He'll just light a fuse on it.
Oh, that's funny. You gotta love it. Love the insight. Well, I was gonna ask Jirehl, as someone who was, scoring the points, being responsible for getting the ball to run it in the end zone, what does it feel like from, for you, if you were in those moments where you're on the sideline and the game just isn't clicking, especially in the way that Iowa State played in that first half? Remy, you gave a really great explanation of what that felt like, but I'm curious what Jirehl would feel. Is it different when you're someone who's in a position to be scoring points? Did you feel like, frustrated to get out there and try and get it in the end zone? What's that like for you, or was like?
Yeah. No, yeah, it is. And, quarterback, the running backs and the tight ends and the wide receivers, they kind of all sit by each other. So the quarterback will obviously have a conversation with the OC and then obviously with the head coach as well. And then they'll come over, grab us, and we'll do basically a mini meeting on the sideline, just try and figure out what we need to do to get this thing going, because a football game can change like that. So obviously you can't be down. You can't be too down when you're down, and obviously you can't be too high when you're doing good. So a football game can change on a drop of a dime. So you just have to stay even keel and just trust that the coaches are going to put you in the right positions, and just know what you need to do when you get in those positions, and do what we practice doing all the time.
It's a nice way of putting it, Jirehl, but we can be honest here. Like, you wanted the damn football in your hands.
Thank you, Remy.
Of course I wanted the football in my hands, but when you're in a passing situation as a running back, you just got to protect.
Right.
Be
you got to
patient.
protect and try and get out just to get the ball. Because especially when like a team knows that you're going to be passing the ball because they've got a big lead on you, you need to watch out, because they're sending all types of blitzes at you.
Yeah.
It was kind of an interesting game. Yes. We talked about this, right? Like, obviously get down early, but you also don't have the kicker, right? Like, you send the kicker out one time and it's a 35 or 38-yard field goal, and it's like, it changes your mindset, like how the coaches are calling the plays. You feel like the whole thing is like, man, just if we had Kyle Conradi right now, like, you get across the 50 and it's damn points, right? Like, it changes everything. So I'm not putting anything on the kicker at all. I'm not putting anything like that. Like, I'm actually a fan that when we were down 16 points, Coach Campbell went and kicked a PAT with with them to go down 9, because at some point, if that guy's going out there and it's game on the line and he's got to make a 32-yard field goal, he's got the confidence to see one go through, knowing that Coach Campbell's got his back. Right. It's just one of those situations where, football is weird. It's played for a reason. It's not meant to be easy. It's a really hard game. And I think the little things like that, sending them out there, I think is totally Coach Campbell's way of saying, like, go see one through, just like if you're a basketball player, you got to see that first bucket, and then go from there.
Well, before we dive into big picture questions heading into the next week, that is also on the road. So interesting to see how that's going to go. I want to give a shout out to our show sponsor, Wyffels Hybrids. They are a U.S. farm family owned. I trip up over that word every time. Since 1946, they're proud supporters of Iowa State athletics and Cyclone Fanatic, especially our podcast here at InCYde Zone. Wyffels is all about Cyclone supporting Cyclones with seed corn that's built for the Corn Belt and backed by people who live it every day. One of their big mottos is plant your independence, plant Wyffels. You can learn more about them at wyffels.com. And as we shared last week, new sponsor for the team here, Farm Story Meats, Ray and Jess Schmidt, are also huge supporters of Iowa State athletics. They're Iowa State alums who are bringing you meat straight from local Iowa family farms to your table. So if you support Farm Story Meats, you're supporting local. They have all types of options: pork, beef, poultry, even bison, all raised the right way. They're based in Ames, which is great, and they do free delivery here in central Iowa, but they do ship anywhere. So check out their website, farmstorymeats.com. You can it's a meat box, load that thing up. You have a few weeks until the next tailgate in Ames, so support local.
I was looking at their website. Oh my gosh.
Were you?
Oh, I mean, come on. I think next tailgate, me and Newell are gonna, chip in and buy like half a cow for next tailgate.
Half a cow? Wow, we'll feed a lot of people, Remy. I didn't know about this.
Just kidding.
Who said Remy had a tailgate tour to do around the lot?
Oh.
He's hosting a whole cow.
Oh.
Yeah. All Iowa State can come.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I'm still looking for tailgates. I'm going to give you your shining moment, one shining moment. I'm going to bring whoever wants to come along with me.
Well, good friend of the Cyclone Fanatic team, Steve Kemp. He texted me. He said, "What do I got to do to get in there?" And Steve Kemp is a guy. He gives me golf cart rides because I'm too lazy to walk to the front of the stadium from the RV lots.
Perfect. Steve, coming your way.
So just know, Steve has
October 25th.
Has a golf cart he's offering you guys.
Yes. Yes, Steve.
Oh.
So like I said, Iowa State's going to hit the road again. They're headed to Boulder this time. Beautiful. I am so incredibly jealous I can't go. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. You take this really tough loss. Several reasons we've obviously already talked about. How do you see the team bouncing back? And I mean, how do you, right? You're getting back to Ames. You're right back at it. And now you're preparing for another road trip. I assume they're leaving Thursday?
No, they're probably
Friday.
Friday?
Yeah.
Friday.
And I'm sure it's a short trip over there.
Yeah, it's really
So,
quick flight.
Yeah. How do you guys see this going? I mean, how do you bounce back? How do you get yourself amped back up?
I know they created these schedules a long time ago, in the winter. But personally, you could not have asked for a better time to have this game on your schedule than right now.
Okay.
There's a couple reasons for that. I mean, Colorado is actually progressing as a team. I watched the TCU game last night, and it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a dogfight again. But as a player, and mentally, it's a perfect week for this. It's the first time you're going over to Colorado. It's a cool place to play. It's a cool city. I'm sure they'll probably stay in Denver, downtown Denver. And so, yeah, when you have a tough loss like that, but you have a game like this to look forward to, and prepare for, like, hey, we're playing prime time, Deion Sanders. These are just little factors that are in your head all week that might make it a little easier to go to practice on Tuesday and Wednesday. Might make it a little easier to go watch your film. Correct these mistakes today. Get your Sunday lift in, which not fun, but it might be a little more fun knowing that you got prime time on the other side next weekend. So it's super easy to take a loss like that, like it was yesterday, and let it continue to roll and build up and build up. Kind of like a bowling ball or whatever. I don't even know what I'm trying to say with that.
A snowball rolling.
A snowball effect, yes. Thank you, Jirehl. Thank you. A snowball effect. But no, I think it's going to be a great opportunity, and if you can't get fired up to go down there and watch Ralphie run around and play Deion Sanders, like it's a good test and a good opportunity and a perfect time for this game to be on the schedule. It'd be way different if we were playing Kansas, which we've been a million times to Lawrence, so everyone knows what that's like. So
sounds like Deion's having some health problems again, so hopefully he is across the field where you get to go out and play prime time. But hope he's doing all right. But I agree with you, Remy. Right, like tough loss coming off there. Like we know what this Cyclone team can do. I'm not worried about how they respond. I think it's going to be more about, hey, what do we need to do to get these guys healthy, right? Like, what do we need to do to make sure that we are able to get the best guys out there consistently that at this point of the season are healthy? And that's a tough thing to do because Iowa State plays physical. Like, they run around, they hit people. And Cincinnati was a physical team, so there's going to be probably more bumps and bruises than we've seen maybe at this season in terms of what's going on. And it's the heart of college football season, right? Like the fresh, brand new juice every day is maybe not there quite as much because you twisted your ankle and you're having to go out there and practice and you're having to spend a little more time in the treatment room. And school is getting to a point in the year where you're having to take your first test. And there's just a lot of things that start to accumulate, small things. But over time, it gets to be a little bit more difficult. We saw it all around across college football yesterday, whether it was the Florida game with Texas, Penn State, and UCLA, right? Like, it is that time of the year where when you have to hit the road, it's a tough thing to go and do in modern-day college football. So I see it being a tough game. I think Iowa State hopefully comes out, and it's just going to be the more physical team and able to kind of punch Colorado in the face and kind of take care of business and hopefully be on the flip side of that, right, where we can get up early, control the game, and then we can really let Abu and Carson get to work.
That's why you got to buy into Spooktober. Right, Jirehl? You got to buy into Spooktober and October. You got to find different things to keep you engaged and keep you having fun while you're doing this because it's the drag part of the year. It's like, oh, you don't see the end in sight. You don't see the end of the tunnel in sight. It's like, oh, my gosh, you're in it. You hurt. A physical game yesterday, and you're going to be hurting. So that's why me and Jirehl decorated the house and Halloween stuff. And
this guy
pumpkin spice lattes before practice.
This guy was huge on Halloween decorations.
Halloween decorations,
Remy was
Christmas decorations.
Huge on decorations for
you got
anything.
to.
Remy, I love that.
you guys aren't wrong though. This is that part of the season where real teams tend to pull away and show themselves. Obviously a tough loss, but you can't let it be a snowball effect. You really can't. You can't let this roll on to next game. You can't let the mistakes that you made this past game creep up again and into this game. You got to understand that you might have lost a game, but the season is definitely not over. Mm-hmm. I saw somebody said Arizona State lost to the Cincy team last year at Cincinnati and then ended up winning the Big 12. So you just have to understand that the season is ups and downs. We've been up for so long now, and now we took a loss, and you just can't let it bring you all the way down. I expect this team to come out on fire. Hopefully the trap, I don't know if they play in the mountains. I don't know if that's gonna play a factor, and you hope not. But
the elevation.
You hope these guys can get some pieces back. But until then, you gotta go out there and win with the guys that you have, and guys just have to step up and we're kind of depleted on the back end for the rest of the year. Obviously, Jeremiah Cooper and John Tennis Williams both being out. It's gonna hurt, but guys are gonna have to step up. Coach Haycock's gonna call a defense that's gonna make up for those guys being out, and guys just have to do what they need to do when they're put in the right positions, because the coaches are definitely going to do that. So I expect this team to go out here and, like you said, it's going to be a good game, but I do expect us to at least pull away in the second half. It might be close at first, but I don't expect it to stay that way.
That's a good point, Jirehl. Like, and we are at the time, like the elevation and everything like that. Fortunately, like a lot of position groups, we still like DBs are a little bit thinner, but our team has deep. Like we have depth where if that elevation does come a thing where like guys have to roll a little bit, like we should have depth in those situations where we can hopefully manage some of that elevation.
Yeah, especially on the O-line too. Like we were pretty healthy on the O-line, so that's as far as I know. I don't know of any
Knock
really
on
injuries.
wood.
Knock on wood. But, us big boys, we get tired sometimes out there. So, especially with the low elevation. I remember when we played BYU my senior year, and the same warm-up you've done all year, and you've pretty much mastered it, and you can do it without even, getting breathless. When you go out to BYU, which I think Colorado's a little lower with BYU, so that's a good thing, but I mean, you were gassed in the warm-up. Like, you felt like your feet were cinder blocks, and you couldn't breathe, and it was just so weird. So, yes, it's very important to have depth in a game like this, especially for those big boys up front. Best of luck. Make sure you drink your cherry juice this week. That's my advice.
Hey, real question for you guys, though. You got Coach Clanton or Warren Sapp?
Oh, in a fight?
If they were to line up against each other, man, they might line up at the 50 for this.
Oh.
Today, I'm taking Coach Clanton.
I'm taking Clanton every day of the week.
In prime time, in their mid at age 27, I don't know many people that would not take Warren Sapp.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of cool.
I saw a video that Warren Sapp still be kicking
over to the
pylons.
Yeah.
And then they got Marshall Falk over there as a coach too. They got a cool, coaching staff.
That's what I'm saying,
cool,
dude. It's great. This is the perfect week to have this game on the calendar. It's just
has a little spice.
Has a little spice to it.
Like I said, I'm jealous I'm not going. My friend group and I were sitting on the couch yesterday and we're like, gosh, we really dropped the ball not prioritizing making that trip.
I think there is a lot of, like, with the old Big 8 connection, like, I think there are a lot of Cyclones, like, who doesn't want to go to Colorado this time of the year?
Right.
I know it was a hot ticket early in the year. Like, it was hard to get because everyone was expecting Colorado to be so good, and it's probably a little bit easier now, but it's still an easy trip for Cyclone fans to make, and there's quite a bit of Cyclones out in Denver, so it'll be fun game.
Yeah. I was, if you remember, I was there. I was with the Alumni Association for the Iowa State game down in Denver. Great people. They do a great job. And I know Williams has some events down there, so check those out. I'm sure there'll be hits because the Iowa State watch party that they put on was fantastic, and that bar is really cool too. So stop by that bar. I have a hat up there now. Society Sports and Spirits. It should be up there still, but
making your mark. Well, the nice thing is Iowa State will go on the road, play Colorado, and then they have another bye before they come back, playing Ames against BYU, so no trip to BYU. I'm very excited for that game just to be in person for it. So I think it'll be definitely an interesting few weeks. I mean, final thoughts, final takeaways, anything you think we should have hit quick before we wrap this up with a bow?
It's all about how you respond. I mean, Iowa State's got an opportunity right now. Like they put this on tape. It's going back and saying, hey, it's the middle of the season. It's in the heart of the season. If we really want to go be a playoff team, like this is when we're going to respond and say, like, we're here for the long run. And I have no question that that's what's going to be what happens this week.
Yeah, I mean, this game could define the rest of the season. Got to be ready for it. You just learn from the mistakes that were made this past week and apply them to this week, and just come back more experienced, just knowing how to do better in the next game. And I honestly feel like this team will be fine. Just had a slip up, and maybe it's a good thing that they had that one game, because it could have happened later in the season, which could deter them even more. So hopefully they just come back from it, and they still have everything out in front of them. Just continue to stack W's.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much left to be played this year. So, I mean, the odds that that a team goes undefeated in today's college football era are very slim to none. So you knew a loss was probably going to pop up at some point, and it's how we use that. And like Jirehl said earlier, Arizona State took an L in Cincy last year, and they ended up playing on New Year's Day in the college football playoffs. So we don't know how this can turn our team around. Provide different perspectives, provide different things for the coaches to look at, because it's really easy to look at wins and say, oh, look at this, look at what's going well. Oh, that's probably not great, but you won. But it's really beneficial to look at a loss and how you take that loss and take those coaching pieces and move forward. The biggest growth can happen from losses, unfortunately, in the sport of football. You've seen it time and time again. Not every team's going to be the Patriots of whatever, but the ability to take losses and keep moving forward. And what Iowa State has done as a program is we've proven that we can keep moving forward. You never really see a loss really deter Coach Campbell coached football team at Iowa State. So bounce back week, try to get healthy, get in the cold tub a little bit, watch some film, and switch that mindset. You're going to take these next 24 hours here. Tomorrow morning, it's a new week. It's a new Monday. It's ability to attack the next week ahead. I'm going to say the same thing to myself in my job this week. It's ability to attack. Yeah. I'm going to take my coaching from this weekend.
Yes.
And keep moving forward. So I challenge you to do the same thing, listeners. Let's have a good
Motivation Sunday.
That was philosophical. Last thing I'll say is my favorite tweet that I saw was from your boy Matt Campbell. Tweeted, "Can't go 12-1 if you don't lose one."
Absolutely.
That was my favorite thing. As always, thanks for listening, guys. Shout out to Wyffels Hybrids and Farm Story Meats. We'll be back next week to talk all things Colorado and looking ahead.